over there who's corralling the Pitmasters. It's really cool to see everyone here and have a chat. So I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, but this is really about you guys in the crowd. So if you have a question, put your hand down, Mark's going to come and find you. So don't feel shy, and yeah, if you have any questions, we're pretty close. So let's kick off. So welcome to stage, the arrogant, he's ready. The Arabia's greatest pitmaster, the Wolverine, smoking out on Mattar farm in Dubai of the UAE, the father, fighter, farmer, flyer, Hattem Mattar! Yeah? What? Awesome. Next pitmaster, I love to barbecue in a Texan style, with a bit of an Aussie touch. He's cooking an amazing barbecue out of the smoker we all love out there, Jolene. If you haven't seen her, go check her out. Amazing barbecue. And from the co-owner of the award-winning Smoking Hot Saucy from Ireland to New South Wales, right here in New South Wales, it's Rob Trace. Alright, crowd favourite, she's the face of Weber, Australia, New Zealand. Recently graduated to the Weber Grill Master. She's developed over 250 recipes for Weber. I don't think I've said Weber enough. If you've got any questions for Weber, Laura Romeo! They're My Kitchen Rules Grand Champions from 2013. Have since opened their own restaurant in Harvey Bay called Eaton Dad and Stef's. They make amazing sausages. And you've got to check these ones out. And proud Sun Pork Ambassadors, welcome to the stage from Harvey Bay, Queensland, Dad and Stef. Yeah! Awesome. And finally, his love for Southern food started back in 2002, which took him on an amazing journey and created an amazing barbecue craft beer joint down in Victoria, where we're from. Reyan Barbecue. The only barbecue place that's got a chef's hat, which is an amazing achievement. From Reyan, based out of Mornington Peninsula, Victoria, it's Martin Goffin! I was like, wow. Awesome, so I've got a few questions to start with everyone, so we'll just split it up. For the first one to get going, what I really want to ask is basically, tell us a little bit about yourself, and what got you here today, just to give everyone a bit of history. Maybe we'll start with you, Laura, because you've got the mic, and then we'll work our way around.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Laura from Weber. As Reyan mentioned, first grill master in the Southern Hemisphere, so recently graduated. So it took about 4 years to get through that process, but proud to finally be here. I think Meatstocks have been an awesome platform for Weber to connect with consumers, but also for myself personally. Presenting to everyone, like it's been a huge growth development, but just talking to people, connecting with people. I think that's the whole thing about barbecue is people coming together, so we look forward to this every year.
I mean, that's pretty much Meatstock, isn't it? Like, it's just, this community and this festival is just amazing. So, we shoot back this way. Dan, what got you here today, mate? I think.
So, we are proud Sunpork ambassadors. So, us and Sunpork team together, and we have a sausage range in every Coles supermarket in Australia. So Dan and Stef, 3 Aussie farmers snags. Yeah, so we're sort of down here sampling our sausages, a couple of masterclasses, all that sort of stuff. But how we started out, 2013, we won My Kitchen Rules. And then from there we went back to our hometown of Harvey Bay, opened up our own restaurant called Eat at Dan and Stef's. Been there 8 years now. And yeah, just sort of still love cooking in the restaurant every day when I'm not out and about doing Meatstock, but yeah, loving life. Even our daughter's with us today, which is special for us. So yeah, she sort of had to miss out on the last 2, but she's here today. She's not in the crowd, she refused because she knows I'm going to embarrass her. But, yeah, I'll put a head joke, Stef.
I think Dan basically gave us those last 10-year rundown of us. But yeah, Emmy's here today. You can find us at the Sunpork tent, which is a bright pink tent over this way. Can't miss us. Come and have a sample of our sausages. We have 3 flavours of sausages in Coles. The guys from Sunpork produce our pigs and produce our sausages for us. So we'll hope to see you throughout the weekend. We're here all day today in Torrent, and then we're on stage here at 12:45. to show you how easy it is to roll a piccata at home. So.
Awesome, no worries. Love it.
My name is Robert Fraser. I'm the co-owner of Smoking Hot and Saucy. Originally based out of Newcastle, we now got a location in Penrith and also up in Broke in the Minions. My wife owns 95% and I own about 5%. So I do all the cooking and heavy lifting and she takes all the money and no, it's not true. It's not true. Barbecue's pretty hard. We got into barbecue because my wife's from Fort Worth, Texas. She's born and raised in Texas. We lived over there when we had our first child. I love the concept of cooking with fire. We use wood-fired standard flow offsets. So we use Australian hardwood ironbark, and we like to cook our briskets, pork, beef ribs really low and slow, aim at 250, 275 degrees Fahrenheit mark. Barbecue to us is family. Everyone's got a secret herb or a secret rub or a secret sauce they have. And when we got married, my wife's grandmother gave us her secret barbecue sauce recipe, which is called Gemma's barbecue sauce. And that really sort of cemented the fact that, wow, we can actually do something with this. So we went back to Australia and we started the business. Been going about 7 years now, and we seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger and more smokers. So hopefully we've got a smoke on sauce out there in you soon.
Fantastic. Martin?
I'm Martin Goffin. I own Red Gum BBQ on the lovely Mornington Peninsula up in Red Hill, which is a wine region. And how did I get here? Well, firstly, I came on a plane. But second,
it's all about the details.
In many ways, I came on a plane. Hence the accent. And in 2003, I met my wife at university. She was from the States. And I basically travelled to and from the States for a long time. And part of that, she introduced me to barbecue, which I totally fell in love with. And my son was born in 2011. And I decided to kind of do a side hustle, which was Red Gum Barbecue. And the reason why we use Red Gum as our name is it's firewood of Victoria. We like to create a connection to place, and in the States often they use the firewood that's kind of native to the area, so we've kind of picked up on that tradition. What else? I don't know. We're the first chef at a restaurant, barbecue restaurant in the country. Probably the world at this point, so
yes.
And we're a B Corp restaurant as well, so we're the first B Corp. It's basically B Corp is an accreditation around sustainability and all that good stuff, so we're the only one of those. And very much we're about family and connection to place and people enjoying the feed. And I just love smoking meat, so that's how I got here.
Awesome. Is this thing on?
Hi guys, my name is Hattem Mattar. Super excited to be here. Shout out to Meastock for having me. The world's first Arab pitmaster, third culture kid, born in Egypt, raised in the UAE, apprenticed in Texas, and I don't know where I'm from, obviously. The cuisine that we make is called third culture barbecue. So it's American technique, and the spices that have come through the spice route all the way from China through the UAE and have kind of developed into its own kind of barbecue that's very familiar to anybody that has the brisket. It belongs to everyone and no one at the same time. We've got 4 restaurants now. I'm an engineer, by the way, not a real chef. I don't know how to make a pot of rice, so please don't ask. I left a very well-paying job as the general manager of a multi-billion-dollar oil and gas company. And now in hospitality, my bank account is empty, but my heart is full.
That's awesome. I love this story. Now, a question for yourself, Adam, and Dan, Stef, and Bob as well. Okay. Starting a restaurant is really stressful and hard work, and I think a lot of us don't quite understand that. But what's a stressful moment that you got through in your life in the last few years, or that you look back on now and you're super proud of? So maybe while you've got the mic, you want to solve this.
When we first brought barbecue to the Middle East, the reason we did it not was because we were trying to build a business. We just wanted brisket for ourselves back in 2014, and you know it's a 15-person, 30-person piece of meat. So when we started going to events and running out of brisket, people had no idea. We were Weber as well. We had the Weber barbecues in the back, and when we were out of sandwiches, we're like, we're out of brisket. And they're like, well, why can't you just make some? Right behind you. I'm like, no, wallahi, I swear to God, we can make some, but come back in 3 days, you know? And by accident, the hype turned into our calling card. You show up, if we're out of brisket, the Weber barbecues in the back are just for decoration, you know? So getting through and kind of educating the community about what barbecue was versus grilling low and slow, that it takes time, and introducing that cuisine to an entire part of the world was incredible.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Yeah.
That's unreal. Well done. How about you guys?
Yeah, so obviously 2013 we did My Kitchen Rules, and it's reality TV. And let me just give you the heads up, there's nothing reality about reality TV. So when we first got into that, we just loved having people over home and cooking for people. That's what made us happy. We start the prep, we'd shop on the Thursday, start the prep on the Friday, we had people on Saturday night or Sunday lunch or something like that. And this ad come on TV about wanting to, do My Kitchen Rules, season 4. So we applied and we got through. So then when it come our time to cook, obviously people knock on your door and you've got to feed 12 people. That's all well and good. You can stop and start and you get breaks, all that sort of stuff. Then we did that, we won, and we decided with the prize money we'd start our own restaurant. Let me tell you, that's very different. Like, I've got a full restaurant and those people aren't going anywhere until they're fed. Like, there's no stopping, starting, and I had the grand plan idea of being in the kitchen all the time, and that's like, when you've got people that are paying customers and they're sitting in your restaurant looking at you pretty much because open kitchen, you can't escape it. So that was like, wow, this is a lot different and a lot harder than we first anticipated, and we just had to adapt like we did on My Kitchen Rules. So very different.
Yeah. How about yourself, Rob?
For me, we started out with a 3x3 marquee and a small little offset. We had people around home and they told us they liked the food, so we thought we'd take it to local markets. We started selling out, then we scaled up and bought a food truck, which we turned into a restaurant. And I guess our biggest challenge was then getting people to come to us, because we've been used to going to events. Like Meastock's a fantastic event, draws a lot of people, there's lots of things to do, lots of food to try, you can go walk through the pit. But to get people to come to your place to try a cuisine they've never tried before, and they don't understand, is very difficult, because the cost involved in cooking barbecue that we do starts the day before. So our briskets for service on a Saturday like today go on the pit last night or yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we cook them all night, and take them off, we rest them. So all that labour cost, that timber we're burning, the meat prices have all gone up over the last 5-6 years. That trickles down to the customer. So when they walk in and they see it, they sort of shy back a little bit, because we also went through an area where brisket was used for rolled roast in Australia, or used for trimmed out and minced up. And so you never actually got a low and slow brisket until the last couple of years. So educating the public on what that is. So it's not rolled roast, it's not dog meat, it's actually really, really good cut of beef that when it's cooked properly, it's succulent, it's tender, it's juicy, with nice sugar crust on the outside. And I remember being at many events and had farmers walk away because they go, I used to feed brisket to my dogs.
Yeah.
And I'd say, hang on a minute, Lou, just try it. And I'd chase after them down the road, and I'd turn around and go, oh, that's 3 sandwiches. So it's fantastic to educate people by tasting it, but getting them in the gate as opposed to coming to an event is very hard.
Yeah, I can imagine, absolutely. Yeah. I think the value in your time and the time it takes to create, especially brisket, like that's why the ultimate meat to cook from a time point of view is unbelievable. So yeah, that's awesome. Now, I could probably ask questions for the rest of the day, so I'm just going to shoot to Mark. Is there anyone in the crowd that wants to ask a question? No? All good? Hey, Mark, you've got a couple you want to ask, mate?
I've got a few questions. Look, I started my barbecue journey relatively recently, and I started with trading before. But what would you recommend someone starting out at a level slow as their first barbecue that you do in this space? I'll probably go to Laura, Martin, and Rob.
You want to kick us off, Rob?
I'm going to big up Weber. I know.
Laura's like, yes, thank you. That's
You've
great.
got the Weber kind of, expert on the stage, but I would give myself a kettle grill. He sounds so funny. But like, literally like with a kettle grill, you can do low and slow, hot and fast. You can set up in different ways. You can snake method. You can do zonal. You know, you can cook a lovely pork
Trying to take you as
shoulder.
well.
What's that, sorry? I know, can we swap? Come work in our restaurant and I'll work for Weber. But you know, it's so, like you can just do so much stuff with a kettle grill, you know, and you can try different wood flavours, you can try different charcoals as well, briquettes, like it's just, if you want to start somewhere, start there. I wouldn't go straight for an offset. You know, time consuming. You've got a massive one. But I would go there because it's just a really kind of easy tool to use to create great barbecue. And if you can cook a ripper brisket on a Weber, oh, hats off to you. Like, you know, like I've got big offsets and you know it's way more challenging on a smaller Weber than it is on one of those things. So anyway.
I would have to agree.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, I didn't see that coming.
No, honestly, it is a great way to enter. I mean, the cheapest kettle you can pick up is around $300 and that will last you for years, even though as soon as you nail it, you'll want to move on to the next bigger one.
Yeah.
But it is a great way to start. I first learned how to low and slow cook on a Weber kettle and cook my first brisket on a Weber kettle, and it actually turned out fantastic. Like, I probably did it a little bit, but it was so great. Like, it's important to learn the fire, like so setting it up correctly, using the right type of fuel, not overloading it, really just getting to understand the dynamics between the fire, the airflow, and different temperatures for the food. So it is a great place to start.
And it's a good, the kettle's good for scaling down. It's like you were saying, you sort of do that one brisket or the one or two racks of ribs. You can scale down and cook it, but I'm really keen to hear it. Oh, Hattem's got something as well.
Oh, hang on.
No joke, and not to steal Weber's thunder, we started our restaurant 7 years ago on a Weber Smoky Mountain. Right out of the backyard.
Yeah, awesome.
And we were churning for a year. It's still in operation. 7 years later. I'm not joking, thousands of briskets later. We've changed the grate and the lid and the door. But the rest of it, the temperature gauge was obviously in Fahrenheit, which was great because anybody that came to read temperature thought it was Celsius and then went home and burnt it. And they're like, we had it at 250 Celsius. I'm like, sucks to be you.
I'm actually going to agree. To get into barbecue, Webers are quite cheap and easy to find too, because a lot of people back in the 80s and 90s bought Webers and then never knew how to use them. So they gave them to their wives or their partners and they became great places to store your pot plants on. Or they filled up with ash or rubbish in the backyard. So when they have the council cleanups, generally speaking, there'll be a Weber on the side of the road, or you can get them on Gumtree for $50, or you can go and buy a brand spanking new one today up at Weber store and pay you $300. They're a great unit because they're so versatile and they're little and cost effective to use. To me, you just go and buy something like Jolene and just throw some sex in it. That's what I would do, but I don't recommend that for you because it's probably a bit more of an investment you want to outlay. So, but no, yeah, Weber kettle, great way to start. I actually own a couple of Weber kettles myself. We use them every week at home. So yeah, there you go. And if you want to don't want to go and speak to Laura, I don't know why you wouldn't want to go and speak to Laura at the Weber store, go and see the Weber Kettle Club Australia in the competition area. One of those guys up there owns about 115 of the Webers, so he'll talk to years off all day about different codes and when they were built and when they were manufactured. They're really, really good guys. If you can stop and drink in, they'll have a conversation with you. So.
Absolutely. That question was brought to you by Weber.
Checks in the mail, isn't it, Laura?
Do you have another one for us, Mike?
Well, I guess it's one of the questions. One of the things we didn't touch on is brisket. I do love a good brisket. It may be daunting to start cooking brisket. Only the cost actually by the meat itself is quite high. I guess for someone first having a first attempt at a brisket, what would you recommend and how would you tackle it? I'm going to go Hattem, and probably Martin Goffin.
So I gotta say, I'm actually here with MLA. Big shout out to MLA. We represent Aussie meat and lamb abroad in the Middle East. Obviously because in the desert, as wonderful and glitzy and glamorous as Dubai is, it is the desert and it imports 85% of its food requirements. So it's not like Australia where you can grow your own everything. Everything is imported. So people have a very diverse selection of the meat they choose. And we represent the Australian meat for what it is in terms of it being grass-fed, the open air, the water, and don't make fun of this term. I didn't make it up. It's these two guys right here. Yeah, put your hand up. I'm not joking. This is my actual title in the Middle East. I'm a lamb ambassador. Thank you. I'm here all week. Tip your waitress. Try to handle But on the brisket side of things, it's a very forgiving cut of meat, and that's why it is kind of back in the day. They turned it into dog food, right? But the trick is moisture and temperature, and even grain-fed Australian product that has a lot of marbling will give you the flexibility and the moisture that exists in the meat without you having to baste, to spray, God forbid, or to have a water tray in there. So it's a really, literally, exactly like you said, the dynamics of the fire, the airflow, but most importantly, the moisture of the apparatus the Weber that you're using by default. Yeah, that's my 2 cents as a land ambassador.
No, as
My thought process, I only use grass-fed in the restaurant, much more around an ethical kind of standpoint than the preference for flavour. I do find a grain-fed product quite rich, but it is very forgiving if you are going to do it at home. So grain-fed has a lot more marbling. I'd be getting a marble small brisket of at least 2 bucks. So buy the best possible brisket that you can afford. You know the famous saying, you can't polish a turd. You can't do that with brisket either. Like, so you've got to start with something that's really, really quality, and then all you want to be doing is enhancing it and making it better. But I would echo that Australian beef is probably the best beef in the world. You know, we've got great pasture land, and the cattle are really well taken care of. But I would be looking at the size of your brisket, at least 4 kilos plus. If you can't fit it in your Weber kettle, chop it in half so you can cook the point bit and then you can cook the flat later. And then if you've got leftovers, you can make brisket chili, you can hack it up and put it in rolls. Like, there's so many things you can do post the cook instead of just having slices. So just have a meal for days because it's enormous. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Big brisket, high marble score, and then just treat it with love and care. And it will cook when it's cooking, and it will be done when it's done. Time is irrelevant in barbecue. It's all about temperature, probing, making sure when your probe goes into it, your meat probe that is, you probe it and it goes in like butter, and it's done. And then the next most fundamental thing is let it rest.
Yeah.
I let my briskets rest for 12 hours. You can't possibly do that at home. But let it rest, stick it in an esky, wrap it up, let it cool down, get it to about 60 degrees Celsius. So when you slice it, it's nice and tender, it's giving up all that heat energy that you popped into it. And also, when you slice into it, you don't want the brisket facial, do you? You know what I mean? You don't want all that steam from the brisket going in your chops. You just spend 12 hours cooking it, you want it all in there, so let it rest. Anyway, that's what I do.
That's awesome. I agree with the make brisket to make things afterwards. So I'm all about making brisket to make brisket pie. That's kind of what I do. Oh, mushroom curry. Oh my lord, that sounds amazing.
Now we're just showing off up here, Laura. My tips and tricks for brisket is really simple. We're a Texas-style barbecue restaurant, so we use salt and pepper. We use a ratio of about 60% fat and 40% salt. We trim them quite heavily in terms of we leave the 5 to 10 mil fat cap over the top, but we shape them up like a nice raindrop, so like a teardrop. So if you think about a teardrop or a raindrop falling out of the sky, the wind resistance from the bottom is going to cause the wind to rush around. And same as in an offset, you've got that wind direction in a standard flow offset from right to left or left to right, and it's flowing over the top of your brisket. So the point end of your brisket, the fatty, thicker end, is protecting your leaner, thin end. And the idea of trying to cook a brisket is cook it as evenly as possible, so the whole brisket comes off the pit at the same time. So your point's not finished before you're flat, or your flat's not finished before your point. You want to come off at the same time.
Yeah, that's really
okay.
Good.
And as Mark said, it's time. So if I'm going to have dinner at 6 o'clock on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and I'm going to cook my brisket for 12 hours, I'm not going to start at 12 at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm probably looking at starting my brisket at 8 or 9 o'clock the night before. Okay? If anything goes wrong, I've got some leeway to get my brisket finished. So if my brisket comes off the pit at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, I can hold it in an esky, I can put my oven on low temperature. The key for me with making a good brisket, when it's pro tender and it's ready to go, before I put it in an esky, before I put it to rest, I'm going to vent it. Okay? So I open up, we wrap in foil. So I open up the foil and I let that steam out. Because it's probably going to be finished around 205 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, which is going to be at 96 to 98 degrees Celsius. Okay? It's nearly boiling water temperature when it's finished. When I want to steam it off, I want to get it to come down to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, about 60 degrees Celsius, fairly rapidly. Okay? That could take 2 or 3 hours to sit on a bench in a nice pan, an oven pan, inside the kitchen. Open the fire, let it steam off, let it come down to temperature. Okay? If you've still got a couple of hours to go until dinner's ready to go, get your esky out, boil your kettle of water, pour your kettle of water in an esky to heat your esky up. Okay? Wrap the foil back up, pour the water out of the esky, so your esky's pre-warmed, dry with some paper towel, and then place your brisket in the esky to rest until dinner time. If you need to, probe it before you're about to serve it, about half an hour beforehand. If you need to.
We like to create really simple, yummy, home-cooked food. And that's the recipes we like to share with our followers and the people that, just like yourself at home. And again, when you're entertaining at home, it's, for us, is really important to be prepared. There's nothing worse than being in the kitchen when all your friends are over and they're all enjoying themselves, but you're like stressing out about what you're cooking at home. So yeah, just being prepared and creating yummy food. That's what makes us happy.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would agree that keeping it simple is always best, and to keep it simple you really need to use quality ingredients, so always leaning on seasonal ingredients, fresh is best. Like beautiful, just young vegetables cooked on the barbecue, bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, just grilled up is fantastic. Recipe inspiration as well, you can cook anything on a barbecue. Anything you would cook inside in your oven or your stovetop, try it outside, I promise it will taste so much better. Anything from baking or pizzas, cook it outside.
No, that's fantastic. And I think, just the whole concept of taking it outside and actually just making it, a bit more of an event than anything else is fantastic. Now, we haven't got much time left, so just quickly, down at Stef, where are we going to find you?
You'll find us at the pink tent, the big Sunport pink tent. We're doing tasters of our sausages, and also after 12:45 our porchetta demonstration, we're going to have a sample of that as well.
You guys got to check this out, Laura.
So I'll be at the weather stand all day. We've got heaps of food, cooking all day, 9 barbecues. Just come up, say hi. We've got lots of taste testing, and also doing presentations throughout the day as well.
I'll try the pizza, the next amazing pizza.
Oh yeah, the pizza is delicious.
Martin, I know you're sort of chilling out this weekend, but yeah, so where do you see Martin? Just go say hi.
Yeah, this is really a weekend for me away from the restaurant, which is a bit naughty because it's Mother's Day. But I'm just cruising, so I'm not cooking barbecue this weekend. I'm just enjoying the event, which I don't really get to do, because I'm usually cooking millions of food for hundreds. But I'm just cruising around, so see me sell it.
Pick his brain, he's got some great tips. How about you, Rob?
I'll be smoking on the saucy vending site. So Joel Lee, people like smoking, will see me open up, doing some cooking. I think we've got about 80 briskets for today, 35 or 40 pork butts. So come by, say hello. If you've got any questions you don't want to ask here, come and see me. We've got no secrets. So yeah, if you want to learn something directly from me, happy to answer any questions you've got.
And Nora's and the ambassador.
Yeah, being the ambassador, I'm obviously making chicken. I'm making lamb right in front of the stage with 2 smoking Arabs. Very honored to be there. It's a lamb pita pocket, pickled onions, some mustard aioli, garlic, and squeeze a lime right before it goes up.
Fantastic. Now, thanks heaps for Hattem Mattar, Robert Craven, Laura Robio, Dan Stef, and Martin Goffin. Thanks, everyone. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning.
Thanks very much, guys, for coming to watch, and thanks again to Reyan Fernando from the BBQ and Brews show for hosting. Thank you, guys. Straight up on this stage, immediately after, we will be having our very first masterclass, a butchery masterclass from Paul Sullivan of Goodwood Quality Meats down in South Australia. We'll be up showing you how to I think we're going to break down a lamb side by the look of things. A beautiful big lamb that Shannon's holding up there.
I think
So yeah, stick around. We'll be doing butchery masterclass, and then as Stef mentioned, also Dan and Stef will be back to do a pork masterclass, showing you how to roll a porchetta at home. Seen him do this demonstration at other meat stocks already this year. Super easy stuff. You just need to know how to do it. So stick around, guys. We will be right back with the butchery masterclass immediately now, and then Dan and Stef with the pork masterclass at 12:45. Thanks, guys, for coming along, and welcome to Meatstock Sydney 2022.